Hi, it's the Chappiness guy. Our special guest today is going to talk to us about multiple sclerosis or MS. We're going to discuss her diagnosis, symptoms, potential causes, and how some of these symptoms can relate to vestibular conditions. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Find your Chappiness, guys. Okay, Paula, Vestibular Talks. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Johan. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us, to teach us about your life and about the condition that you live with your daily life. So, when we get into it, can you tell us a little bit about you, your story, yourself?
Okay. Okay, my name is Paula. I been in Canada for 18 years now. I'm from Colombia, so it's all my family. I know you through my sister. You guys have, oh my God, known each other for many years too since she came here. So I'm happy to tell you about what I'm living with right now. So it's going to be 4 years. So just first, I tell you, this is the first time I'm openly, um, like talking about this. It's a big step, but I
Yeah,
think it's time to let people know because there's a lot of people living with medical conditions and symptoms, and that we ignore it or we just ashamed to talk about it. We're afraid. We don't want people to think like different about us. I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, as I said, about 4 years ago. And wow, 4 years. It's been a roller coaster. It's been hard to live with. But now I'm at a point where like I'm still suffering from a lot of symptoms, but I'm a little more stable and I accepted that this is the condition that I have. Um, so I'll tell you about a little bit of what MS is,
yeah,
because I know
please.
I, excuse me, because I know a lot of people don't know what it is, and that's fine. And I'm super happy to do this with you, and I admire your show. I watch your videos, and it's
Thank you.
amazing. It's amazing what you've been doing, connecting people through that, right? So I really, really, I'm really proud of you for that.
Thank you. Means a lot.
Okay, so what MS is an autoimmune disease that attacks your nervous system, attacks your brain, your spine, and your optic nerve. So, about 4 years ago, I started having symptoms. I started having nerve pain that goes from my shoulder all the way down to my arms, and I will have like tingling sensation and needles, pins and needles, and I lost sensations on these two fingers.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, and so I didn't know what it was. It was just and oh my god, it's just a pain. It's a burning sensation. You just feel like someone is just burning you inside. As I was telling you, is like a ghost pain as well. Like it's there, but if you touch it, sometimes it doesn't hurt,
yeah.
but it's there, right? Like it's inside. So I went to the doctor. And she said like it was probably a pinched nerve from my back that it was affecting my shoulder. All the nerves are connected. At the time I worked with special needs and I was working in a group home. It was a very heavy duty work. So I thought I was doing something wrong, maybe, wrong position. Sometimes, we don't sit properly or you just twist. It just takes a twist. So she sent me some pills for the pain, but it wasn't painkillers. It was um, amitriptyline. I might be
Yeah,
I think I'm
yeah.
pronouncing it wrong, but
No,
I
it's,
think you took that medicine as well, right?
they prescribed it for me before, yeah, and it's very common for migraine pain and other what is it called, nervous system conditions. Yeah.
Yes, it's a nerve blocker and it's also antidepressant.
Yes.
So it suppresses your nerves. So I took that for a little bit. It was absolutely horrible. The side effects were uh, like I will wake up like feeling like a zombie. I was in a bubble all day. It was just dizziness, nausea. I couldn't eat right. It was like dry mouth all the time,
Yeah.
and you just feel like you're hungover. But the pain was so bad that I gave them a try, and I said, something has to help. So I took that for a while, but it just the side effects were not working for me. So I stopped taking that. But around the time I stopped taking it, the pain went away.
Oh,
So I thought, oh, you know what? Maybe it did help, right?
yeah.
I also tried acupuncture. I was doing that at the same time I was taking that medication. So I thought, well, something happened, but
But it
one
worked.
day
Yeah.
it worked. Yeah, I woke up and one day, the pain wasn't there anymore. So I was fine. A few months went by, and I woke up with a really bad headache one morning. I suffer from migraines since I'm 12 years old, and it runs in the family, something that another condition I've lived with all my life, but I have it under control. I know what I should eat, what I shouldn't eat. I know what foods causes more headaches. And believe it or not, I try every medication over the counter and prescribed, and nothing helped. The only thing that helps me is Advil migraine. Believe it or not, I buy it over the counter as 200 milligrams. And if I'm having an extreme, like a really severe migraine, I can take 3 of those, and I can tell you, half an hour, like it's gone.
Ah,
But again, everybody's different, right? Like it's
yeah.
something as I said, I had it since I'm young, so like I knew how to live with it. So, but that day when I woke up with that headache, I also woke up with like a halo, it's like a cloud on my in my eye. So it wasn't double vision, but it wasn't blurry either. It was just like if something was floating in there.
Yeah.
I went to the doctor. They put some drops, those yellow drops, to see if you have something in there. It felt like something was there, like a dirt, and I was putting drops. I was trying to see if there was an eyelash, like something. Nothing. The doctor said, no, you're fine, you don't have anything, like you don't have anything in your eye. Okay. I went home. 3 weeks, almost a month, I had that cloud, but they told me nothing is there, so I'm okay. She said you can keep putting drops just to, like, uh, if you feel that refreshes your eye, then you can just put drops.
Yeah.
So I know my diagnosis. That's one also of the symptoms that people get, right? Double vision, because it affects your optic nerve. So double vision, blind. Some people go blind from one eye, blind from both eyes. Like, that's another thing that MS doesn't attack everybody the same way. So I know a few people that have MS that I've connected with. Also, one of my coworkers got diagnosed right after me, and we never share the same symptoms. Like, I get my symptoms on the right side of my body, uh, because my MS has affected my spine and my brain, not so much my optic nerve. That has been the only symptom that I had, and it never came back. So because it never came back, it wasn't something I looked into it, or I had the doctor, because I was fine. Months later, the same nerve pain that I was having on my right arm, I had it on my left arm. So I said, oh, I'm definitely doing something wrong at work. Like, it has to be I'm bending like the wrong way, or I'm twisting. Like, so again, I went back to the doctor. She said it has to be a pinched nerve. Like, there's nothing we can
Yeah.
do, pretty much. Like, just try yoga, just try this. So I at that time I didn't try those pills, because the side effects again were horrible. So you have to pick your struggle. So you either
Yeah.
go through the side effects, or you just deal with the pain. And the pain stays. Same thing in my arm. This one affected my pinky. I wanted to chop this off. It was it felt like my I was putting my finger on fire, and that will go from my finger all the way here to my neck, going all the way here to my brain. Like, I could feel almost like an electric shock that goes from my brain all the way down to my finger, and my finger will get hot and itchy. So, like, I will scratch it, I will try to do uh, nothing really helped. Again, the pain stayed for a few months, and then it just went away. So I started having symptoms when I was 30. After my 30th birthday, that's when I started having this, like, nerve pain in my arms. A year went by, almost 2 years went by, like, with this pain that will come and go, mostly my arms. But now I started feeling the same pain going from my almost like my back all the way down to my leg and all the way down to my toes. So that's when I started really to worry. I said something is wrong. And you also have a condition. You know your body.
Yeah,
You know your body. And I wish doctors will not take that as like, oh, you know everything. No, you shouldn't diagnose yourself. No. I knew something was wrong because just my arms anymore. I wasn't at the time I got transferred to another group home. So I wasn't doing really heavy duty, so I knew something else was behind it, but
yeah,
she just couldn't do anything else for me, like x-rays. I do acupuncture, I took the pills, I did everything. But the pain, like I started having it again, is my right side. So my right leg, I will feel like pins and needles every time I walk. Is that sensation that when your foot falls asleep and you walk and it's like, but it
yeah.
was there all day, every day. It never went away. And to be honest, at that time, I just kind of ignore it. Like, there was nothing else the doctor could do for me. So, like, it was almost pointless for me to go back to the doctor because they're gonna tell me, yeah, you have a pinched nerve. But like, how can they tell you have one pinched nerve in your body and is this one? No, like this is hard to say.
Possible to pinpoint.
And yeah, but it wasn't. I went back to the doctor right after I started having the pain in my leg, is because my leg went numb. So I woke up one day and I, step out of, like, get out of the bed, and my foot was completely asleep. So I was like, okay, just kind of like, shaking it, try to like wake it up, and it didn't. But then the numbness went from my foot to my knee, and then I went to bed, woke up, and it wasn't up to my waist. So my whole leg was asleep. It was heavy. It's a heavy feeling. It's almost like a tire, like you're tired, like
It's like,
your
yeah,
your leg is dead. Like, there's no other way to explain it. Like, my leg felt dead. No strength, that numbness all the time. I could touch myself, like I could touch and pinch my leg, and I don't feel anything. And it's scary because you're pinching yourself, but you don't feel anything. So I went back to the doctor and I said, you know what, something is wrong. You need to do something else. Like, there has to be another test that you can run that can explain why I'm having all this nerve pain. And now it's not just my nerve pain. Now I'm going numb. Like, I'm numb completely. So the numbness keep going up, up. I was numb from like my neck down, except my face and my hand, but everything else was numb.
yeah, it's pretty
My
scary. Yeah,
It's scary. Like, it is my right side. So if it was my left side, I would probably, imagine, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack or I'm
yeah,
having a stroke. I don't know. But it was my right side. So it's not like I didn't worry, but I did. It wasn't. I knew it wasn't my heart, right? Like, I knew it was something else. And that's when I went back to the doctor. I said, you have to do something. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna send you for an MRI. But here this is 4 years ago. Like, you wait months for an MRI. Like, now I believe they do it more often, and they have more, like, they have the St. Catherine Hospital, and they do it in different places. But I waited almost 4 or 5 months for me to get an MRI. So she prescribed the MRI in July 4 years ago. So this July was like 4 years, 3, 4, and I didn't get the appointment until October.
yeah.
So, but I was numb from that day until the day I got in that bubble to get my MRI. I still didn't recover my feelings. Like, I was completely numb. I was still working and carry on with my life because, I mean, there was nothing else I could do at
Yeah,
the
I
time.
also,
You life goes on and you got to do what you got to do and you pick up and go. It was exhausting because other symptom of MS is a fatigue, chronic fatigue. But when I tell you fatigue is not, oh, I'm tired. No, you feel like someone beat you up. Like, if you, sometimes it's hard to get up in the morning, and not because like, oh, I'm tired, I want to sleep more. It's because, oh my God, my body is completely beat up. So, yeah, so my body remained numb until I got the MRI done. So I got the MRI done October 4 years ago, and I got my diagnosis in November. Like, almost 3 weeks later, they never call me. So you think no news is good news, right? So
yeah,
normally they tell you If we don't call in a couple of weeks, means this, but almost 3 weeks went by. So I didn't expect a call from the neurologist. At the time, my family doctor had already referred me to a neurologist, and now she was going to be the one that will give me the results for whatever the MRI
Yeah.
came out saying. So she called me, they called me, they said, like, for the results. She said to me, we find some white spots on your brain, like on your MRI screen, like image, like you can see there is some white spots that are called lesions. So she said, but I can't quite sure tell you if this could be MS or it could be another autoimmune disease that attacks your nerves. We're going to have to send you for another MRI and do a neck and a spine to see
Yeah.
if she also knew my migraine history, and she knew that I suffer from headaches since I was little. Your brain is scars every time you have a headache, right? Especially if you have severe migraines like I used to, like your brain starts to have scars, right? So she explained to me that that's why they needed another MRI, because they wanted to make sure that was not scars, but right. So I went back and I got another MRI on like full my spine, my neck. I was
Which,
there
by the
for
way, it's not pleasant, right? Like an
I
MRI,
was
it takes forever. Yeah, it's a long process.
I was just going to say I was in that bubble for like half an hour. Okay. I was, they give you headphones with music, and you have a little thing that you can squish if you know that you need to get out if you're getting claustrophobic. But yeah, it was pretty scary because you're in this bubble. You feel like that noise, even though they give you the
Yeah,
phone,
humming.
the headphones, like you feel,
Yeah,
yeah, you it's like, like,
yeah.
and 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. That's when it really hit me. I said, you know what? Some There has to be something. Why are they gonna keep me there for 25 half an hour? Like, if it's in and out. My brain MRI, though, it wasn't that long, but I think it's because this one was a follow-up MRI. Like, I don't know if that's why they took longer, or but they called me the week later, and that's when she told me that I had multiple sclerosis, that the same lesions that were my brain was showing, it shows on my spine. So
Now, when she told you that, what was your first reaction? Like, what do you imagine?
you know what, that day was a blur. I can i can i can't even explain to you what you feel at the moment. And you know I, I went alone. I didn't take anybody with me by choice. So not because I don't have a supportive family. I have a great support system. I
Yeah,
have a great family, great friends. And it was it's the denial. Is the I was deep inside, I knew something was wrong, but you still go in there thinking, you know what, maybe it's nothing. So at the time, my brother travels for work. My mom was at the time back home caring for my grandma. Everybody worked. So it was just one of those days, weekdays. She called me 3 o'clock, come, we'll give you your results. When she said, I can't remember anything else after she said, you have multiple sclerosis, and this is the reason why you're having the symptoms, because the lesions show that is in your spine. Goes by numbers too. The T3,
C1, your
T4,
C2.
C1. Yes. So it's too much if I explain everything, but it depends on when you get those lesions. That's why it affects my right side. Some people get lesions in their brain, so that's why it affects all everything, or the left side. I have a friend that when she has MS as well, and when she goes numb, she has flare ups and she goes numb, her whole body goes numb. See me, why in the right side, something there, and the nerves are just connected, and yeah. So that's how I can't tell you. I didn't have a conversation with the doctor that day. I mean, she wanted to explain there's this treatments and this, but I just like the movies. I couldn't hear anything else after
Oh
she
yeah, you
said
were like
MS. You
numb,
just go and like,
shocked.
yeah, you just go. Yes, exactly. It's exactly. I went in a shock, and yeah, and it was a few weeks or months until, like, I was able to tell my family what I had. they knew about all my symptoms, so they knew that I was struggling all these years, with nerve pain and numbness and being fatigued and just feeling, because you also get headaches, you get like uh brain fogs, yes, that's what they
Yeah,
call, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that is, you feel like you're in a bubble all the time. I used to have severe of those when I was like closer to my diagnosis, and it was almost like pretty much everything in the back of my head. It just felt like I was like someone was hitting me, like I was in a bubble, and my head will do this all the time. It's like a dizziness. I don't know. You suffer from that too, so
That's the thing, Paula. Like your condition and my condition are different but similar, because the phantom pains, the ghost pains that you're describing, I get them too. And we were talking about that we get them on the leg, right between the knee and the ankle, and it's like a fatigue. It's almost like you ran for hours, and you feel like that soreness inside, but you touch the outside of your skin and it doesn't hurt,
and it doesn't hurt.
but it's almost like inside, almost like in the bone. It's almost like something is either crawling or shocking you, like an electric shock, and you
Yeah,
and you feel like your leg is tired. But I also get the restless leg syndrome. So even though my leg feels like that, I can't stop moving it. It moves and moves and moves and moves and
the
moves and moves.
twitching.
And
Yes,
yes, and
yes.
so that symptom you mentioned the migraines. Like I get the migraines as well. I get the electricity in the fingers. It's almost like if they
Electric
are going
shocks.
numb, but with electric. Yes, so it's so intriguing that your condition and my condition have different names, but the symptoms can be so similar. The brain fog, the visual aura.
Yeah.
What about emotionally? What did this do emotionally to you, like regarding anxiety, depression, things like that?
So yeah, so I did. That's another symptom. So people that have multiple sclerosis get depressed, not just because of the sadness and the difficult, the acceptance and accepting that you have an illness that has no cure and no, like they don't know what causes it. Um, but the depression was way more intense because I didn't know, and it's an actual, like it's a physical symptom, like like they suppress your brain, right? Like it suppresses your brain. So like I suffer from depression badly, a lot of anxiety, but I try to manage it as the day comes. It's hard to prepare because, and it's hard to know what's going to happen because MS is really unpredictable.
Yeah,
Symptoms come and go. They come and stay. I don't know for how long. I don't know when they're going or if they're ever going away, right? Like I do have permanent symptoms that, like I have the twitching on my leg that we talk about is restless leg syndrome. I have to take, mm, muscle relaxants at night to be able to sleep okay. I can sleep without taking it, but it's really hard to fall asleep because your leg is twitching and it's like that jumping all the time, right? So that, and I do take antidepressants for my depression, for my anxiety is something that I also accept, and I talk about it more often now because again there's a lot of people that you know don't know what they're feeling and they're just afraid to talk about it. Obviously my depression has been worse because of this condition, um, just because it's right, it's hard to live with something forever and you
the
don't know,
uncertainty.
right?
You don't
Like
know what's
it's,
happening in the future.
yes. I did have a couple of really bad relapses with my MS, and that was another thing I wanted to explain to you. So there is a treatment, steroids, right? They inject you with steroids to help the inflammation go down, because so when MS is pretty much my body attacking my own body. So when MS attacks one of my nerves, the nerves are covered with something that's called the myelin sheath. So when MS attacks the nerve gets exposed. So there is inflammation, there is pain. That's why you feel that pain. That's why you feel that burning, because right now the nerve is exposed. So that nerve dies, right? So the more MS attacks your nerve, the more you start losing feelings, and the more that's when mobility issues come in place, because then it's not like your muscles are not good. It's just like your nerves are dead. So like if you want, your brain wants to tell your leg to move, but that transmission is not working anymore,
Yeah,
because I want to tell my brain wants to tell my leg to move, but when I send that message, move my leg, that nerve is damaged. So that transmission, like that message never get. So that's why people lose mobility, and is one of the most common, like, the
yeah,
symptoms. And that's how mobility issues, and like the fatigue, the depression, the nerve pain, the tingling, the needles, restless the leg syndrome, like it's a bunch of symptoms
yeah.
that.
A lot of things I got together.
So there was a time when my numbness became worse and worse and worse, right? Sometimes the numbness is there, but I'm still able to walk, right? Like I do have a permanent weakness in my leg, so it's always heavy. um, but when I had that flare up, it was a really, really bad one, and my numbness became worse. And so I started losing feeling on my foot. So when I was walking, I couldn't feel my foot anymore. I couldn't feel my toes anymore. So I got very scared because it was getting worse, and I didn't know what to do. So I went to the emergency, and um, they gave me steroids. They put you in a treatment IV, like through IV for like 5 days. They pump you with the steroids, and yeah, they help the numbness, ease up and eventually go away. But the side effects of the steroids are horrible, right? So again, you don't know what's worse. I don't know if the pain is worse than the actual side effects of the medication that is supposed to help you.
It's so, and it's so unfortunate because a lot of this, sorry, a lot of the side effects are almost worse than the actual condition you're trying to battle. So you're right. You are between a sword in the wall because you're like, what do I do? What's worse? Should I take this and risk having a permanent condition with side effects, or should I learn to live with what I'm living with currently? Right. So yeah, you're
Yes.
right. Paula, what about when you got diagnosed? Do you know anything about MS already, or you had to start researching and like finding?
No, life is crazy. Um, yes, I did know a lot about MS because I used to care for people with MS. So tables turn. So you never think that's gonna happen to you, and it did. And I think that's also why it was very shocking, is because I knew what I was against. Like, I've cared with people with MS that unfortunately they now are in a wheelchair. And a
Yeah,
lot of people with MS, that's where they end up, in a wheelchair, in a bed. They can move, right? I'm blessed enough that I am still able to move, and it could always be worse. But yeah, I knew a lot about MS because, again, like, I care with people with MS. So like, I knew all the symptoms. I knew the medications, which I wanted to talk about. I did go on. There's a few treatments for MS. There's no cure for it. So I mean, and nothing has been proven for to like tell you for sure this is going to stop the progression of the disease. And there's a lot of controversy about it too, because Canada is number one country in the whole planet with the highest population with MS. There is a lot of money that they've been raising for years and years and years. So there should be more for us than
or
what it is, right? And the pharma business, that's another
yeah,
story I won't get into it. But I did have to take medication because I was scared. I didn't know what to do after being numb and having to go to the hospital and have that steroid treatment. That's when I said, okay, like, I'm gonna have to. At first I was very against it, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna let life take it, like,
of course.
take it one. Yes, like, I don't want no medication, because I already knew side effects are horrible. But I ended up agreeing to get on treatment, and I was injecting myself with Copaxone, is synthetic protein that they inject in your body that is supposed to help the myelin sheet to like not get destroyed, but it's not proven. Like I was still having symptoms when I was injecting myself every day, and on top of it, it was painful, and I had to do it myself, and it was a reminder every night that you have MS, so you have to inject with this. So it was a lot of things that it was worse what I was going through with the treatment that the actual
Yeah.
disease, you know. So yes, so I stopped taking that treatment. Now I'm approved to start another treatment with a new drug that is called Mavenclad. Um, I can't really talk about it too much right now because I'm still doing all my researches and everything. But what it is a chemotherapy drug that they microdose. They microdose for people with MS, and that's supposed to, you know, prevent the progression. It's not proven yet, but I'm in between. Like it's hard. I want to do everything naturally, and like I sorry, my camera went off for a second. But sometimes you have to try the medication because like you don't know
Yeah.
what to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's
Eh,
pretty much. But go ahead.
So, Paula, you said there is history in your family of migraines. Is there history in your family of MS, or you were the first person diagnosed in your family?
Yes, I am the first person. So I it's not nobody in my family had it. We do have a family member that has it, but we're not related by blood, so we don't know if
Yeah.
But
Next.
she does have MS, and that is probably the
Oh, you cut off. We're back. Sorry. So you were saying that you have a family member that is not related by blood, but she's been diagnosed with MS. But you are the first one in your family that actually has an MS case. Uh, how did they take it? How did your family? Well, from what I know, it took you a while to actually talk to them about it. But when you finally came out and told them, "Hey, listen, this is what I'm dealing with," what was their reaction?
you know it's devastating, right? Because uh, I it's very emotional to talk about that, but like I mean, I have a strong family, I have a great support system, but it was hard at the beginning for all of us to accept that, right? My mom, she still works in the community helping people with MS, right? So we know what we are against with. If I don't know where my my condition is gonna take. Like I don't know if I'm positive that I will get better, like and I'm able to control the system. I mean the symptoms, but is it's hard to know that you have that, and for your family to know that you have that, because it's a condition that you have for life, right? And again, there's no cure, so there's no hope. Like I mean, there's hope that I know I'm gonna be okay, but there's no hope of a cure, right? So it's it's been a roller coaster emotionally, but um I have family in Colombia. I went already back home, and told all my family what condition I have, and they're all supportive, and just we battle every day together, I guess.
But now that you mentioned family in Colombia and that you told them about it, this kind of condition is not very common in Colombia to happen.
No,
So when you told them, what did they say? Did they understand what it was?
yeah, no, I mean, no, a lot of them know. They didn't know. And yes, you're right. It's not a common condition in this, like in the South American countries. Like MS is mostly North America, like Canada, States, North Europe. They believe there is a lot of environmental factors that affect MS, or they believe that would cause MS as well. This Niagara region, Ontario, has a really, really, really high population of MS. So a lot of people here, they knew what it was, but a lot of people back home no. Like you think MS and they think, yes, you're in a wheelchair, that's it. Like it's either your bones or your like your muscles, but they didn't really know. But I've been educating them, and I have a cousin that is a doctor too, so I have a lot of help from her side. And
Paula, you just said environmental factors may affect MS or may even potentially cause MS. How does the weather changes affect you?
they do affect me a lot, especially. Sorry, my camera went off. Can you see me?
Oh yeah, I can see you.
Okay, my thing. Weather change. Drastically, it affects me a lot. It gives me a lot of pains and aches, and my nerve system goes into this like misfiring, and a lot of electric shocks going on around like my arms and my legs, and I get very very fatigued. Like it's a normal thing for me to be fatigued every day, but like sometimes when we go changing into like let's say now that we're going into winter soon,
Yeah.
is very bad. I do better in warm weather. Some people with MS cannot stand the heat, uh, the, the the drastic changes, either extreme cold or extreme heat, is known to cause flare ups, and for people to start feeling symptoms. I do better in the heat. I don't know if it's because I'm from there or it's because my body just does better. Sometimes when I have nerve pain, people put some people with MS put ice packs, right? Because your nerves are inflamed, so you want to reduce the inflammation. Me, I put heating pads, and that suits my pain. Why? I don't know, but that works for me.
That
So
works.
whatever works for you, right? I you just have to try. I've tried different things, right? Like, and heating pads is one of the things that help me. Pain, a cream for the pain instead of taking painkillers, so it's not so hard on my stomach. And I try to take all my vitamins. Vitamin D is a huge thing. Like a lot of people, especially us that we live in the north, we don't have the
You're deficient.
yes, and that causes too, because I mean we only get sun what 4 months out of the year, right? And is the rest we don't really get that vitamin D. So a lot of people with MS, they have deficiency and vitamin D. I take supplements right every day to try to like level it up, but it's
And how has this, because it's an invisible illness. Like you look, if I look at you, I see you. You look fine, and
people, yeah, for some people it's hard to believe, like they're like, really, you have that? Like how? Like you look fine, but you don't see the fatigue, right?
you
And
don't
the
see
pain.
the pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and what about, so you were working at the time that you got diagnosed, and I known you for many years. Like you always been a go getter. Like you very active. You do a lot of you had dogs in your family all the time, so you go out
Yeah.
with your dogs. You play with your family. What about now? How has that changed? Like, are you able to still do that, or now the fatigue drags you down and stuff?
um I still can do some things. I'm not working at the moment. I've been off work for a while because I just physically couldn't do it anymore. And I was going through a lot of symptoms, a lot of weakness in my leg. And so I can't really drive. And, I was commuting to work. And so I, yeah, so I haven't been working. I'm not as active as I would like to be. Um, but I still, do my best. Like dogs are my best therapy, and you have dogs too. So like, try to go for walks and try to stay active and like, um, it's a lot of the it's not just the pain, but it's the motivation. I struggle a lot with that too because it's a lot of it's pains, and and then you feel depressed, and but you want to be there, and you want to like and change your habits and everything, but it's the depression too that kind of is up and
Roller
down.
coaster.
So I've been trying to eat better. I mean, not like you, because you're Mr. Healthy Eating. Oh my goodness, I admire you. It's hard to. I'm still reading the book, so that's why I haven't talk about it. The medical medium, right? The book that you recommended. I haven't finished it, but I've been taking notes and trying to learn more about how food can change your condition and your
Oh, big time.
symptoms. And like,
Yeah, it's so connected. Yes, very much so. Paula, what about? I know you're doing this video because you want to. You're brave. You're trying to raise awareness, and you want to. Well, you want people to understand the impact that MS has in someone's life. What about regarding help from the government? Is there any agencies, any support, any financial support regarding the medication, things like that? Like, is there anything?
there is financial support for medication because the treatment for MS is a lot of money, thousands and thousands and thousands. So yes, there is that help, but there should be more help because all that money that they raise every year. I mean, there's the MS Society, right? And every city has an MS Society, and they're supposed to be doing a lot for people with MS, but you have to be very involved with them to receive that help.
Okay,
Like,
good to know because like people, this is isolating. These conditions, when you have a chronic illness, you feel isolated because now you feel like you don't belong to the normal. So you
yeah,
feel like you feel that you need to find people that relate to you and that you relate to them. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
To be honest with you, as I said, I this is my first time being open about MS and talking about it. So I'm hoping that this will probably open doors for me and find uh, people that want to support each other and stuff like that. Um, I know there is groups that you can, connect through Facebook or social media and stuff like that. I'm not really involved in those things, like in those groups or support. I know a little bit about the MS Society and that they have money and they're supposed to help people with support and stuff like that. But I'm not really involved with them, so I don't get support from them. I do get like support from the government, like, I mean, because I'm not working, but it's just because I'm of medical. And now
yeah.
with this COVID being around and everything, like, I'm more prone to get sick because my immune system is already compromised. So, but yeah.
And is there a genetic component to this? Like will your family, like your sister, your brother, will they ever be able to check themselves to make sure that it's not a genetic component, or if this just happens to like anybody?
You know what? They haven't proven it's genetic. That I personally don't, even with the things that I've read, I don't think it's genetic. Because then I don't know, like someone in my family should have it,
To
like,
have it.
right, like, but and it attacks more female. That's another thing. MS attacks more female than male. Like, so at least 80% of the people with MS in Canada is female.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, and the the time, like the prime for MS to attack is the early 30s. And if I go back to my story from earlier, it was in my early 30s that I started having symptoms. I didn't get diagnosed until I was 33.
And,
So
uh,
yeah, so like I'm 37 now. So it's been 7 years since I started having symptoms to, being diagnosed and now living with the condition.
and that what you just said is very interesting because a lot of people that get diagnosed with vestibular migraines is also in their late 20s, early 30s, which makes me believe that something hormonal triggers. It triggers something like it flares something up in the nervous system, and then these things happen. Maybe it's because of the weather. Maybe it's because of the food that we eat. Maybe it's just our hormones. But something in that age group
Yeah.
gets triggered at that point. It's so interesting.
In the age group and females, like there has to be something why there's more females with MS than guys, right?
And
Like
same
it
thing with vestibular migraines. Female women get more affected by it.
really, yeah. So there is a lot of things that we should know more about, and they keep saying there is no, they don't have the cause, they don't have the cure, and that's when won't get into it, but like that's when you really question, okay, so like is there really a cure? Where's the money that they're raised? Like, what are they really doing? Like, you hear of more people here in Canada like having MS, so like it has to be something that, yeah, it has to be the something in the water or something we breathe in, like, or there has to be an explanation, but they don't have that explanation, right? So
Paula, I know you're personal, but you also like to help other people. If someone wants to reach out to you and they want to find you and maybe ask you about your life story, or they just simply want some advice because they might be experiencing a mess, or a family member is experiencing a mess, where can they find you?
so I mean, I would love to if I can help someone, and if someone wants to reach out to me, like by all means. I don't. I mean, I have to download Skype to talk to you. Like, I don't really, you know, do any videos, or like I don't have a YouTube or nothing. But like, I mean, give them my email. Like, I guess, and if we can help someone, I would love that. I mean, there is a lot more that um I would like to like teach people, right? Like, I know today was just like the interview, and you wanted to know the whole story, but like, yeah, I would love to like teach people. There is still people that I talk to on, on a regular, and if when they know, or found out that I had MS, they don't know what it is, and that's sad. Like, everybody should know what MS is. Not just MS. I'm just saying any medical condition, but
Yeah,
just because MS is such a big thing and big numbers here in Canada, right? So I moved here 18 years ago. So I don't know, maybe if I stay in Colombia, I wouldn't have had MS, but right, life
yeah.
happens. I'm here now, but it's not something common, right? So it's
I
something
thought
that's
about
it's something that's happening in these countries here in the north, right?
yeah,
Because you know,
I thought about the same thing when this vestibular thing happened to me. Yeah, apparently it's very common in here, and I'm like, maybe if I stayed in Colombia, this wouldn't have happened. But hey, I'm grateful to live here. It's a beautiful country. It's an awesome country. But yes, you kind of go to that place in your mind of, hey, is there, maybe you're right, something here in the water, something here in the air that is
yeah,
affecting people more than other places. Yeah.
yeah.
Paula, what do you think? I mean, I know it's impossible to answer this, but what do you think the future holds for you?
You know, um, That's a great question. Um, now I'm trying to change my profession because my physical body is not the same, right? So I'm not able to do the job that I used to do. So like now I'm trying to get more in the beauty business and do something different, something that I can do when I'm sitting down, right? Like majority of my symptoms happen in my legs. So I'm lucky enough that I don't feel anything in my hands. So I'm still able to like, be crafty and do things. Um, and I don't know. I mean, maybe after this, who knows? Something will open, and I because I'm going to start the treatment that I told you about. I was thinking about recording day by day, like just so I can, you know,
Yeah,
because I wish I did that when I took the injections, but at the time there was so much going on, and I was so sick and in so much pain that I just wanted to get better, and but now I will probably see myself doing that. Like, I wish I could, and I'm really really happy to do it, like just to like document every day.
yeah,
So because I tried to go on YouTube and see if I can find that, and I couldn't really find. There's not a lot of people that do that, or I might be looking in the wrong place. But I went on YouTube. I was like, I want to see, like, there has to be people that's taking this medication that can tell me what's happening, and I found only a few people. So if I can, yeah, if I can be open and do that and help people, then why not, right?
yeah. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I would like to get more in nutrition, right? Like, and how to eat and what not to eat. Like, we I personally, like, I love junk food and I love the sweets and this and that, but like this with time it really affects it really
Oh
affects
yeah, yeah.
you know
We
all
are
those.
more.
Hmm.
Paula, and the last question is: so the channel is called Find Your Chappiness. How do you find your chappiness?
How do you find your happiness?
You, yeah. How do you?
by loving yourself, accepting yourself. I think that's the first step. It's just an everyday work, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
It's we're often too hard on ourselves. We criticize, we put a lot of expectations on us, and you're right. We need to be more loving and understand that sometimes we just gotta take that break, and then if we're feeling down one day, that's fine. Just be down that day, but next day be back up again and keep going
Absolutely.
at it.
Yeah. And because again, I told you, like, MS is so unpredictable, so I can really prepare myself for anything. So every day is like, okay, with everything that's happening everywhere right now, like, I'm so blessed, right? Like, in everybody is having such a hard time with everything that's happened with, the COVID and everything. And some days are harder than others, but you just have to get through it. Like, I have no other option. You just have to
Yeah,
keep, like,
life
it's just,
life goes on.
as they say, like, you don't know how strong you are until being strong is the only way to
Only
be.
option.
Is the
Yeah,
only, yeah. And it's okay to not be okay. Like, I have my days where, like, I need to let it out. And there is I have a lot of why me days, right? Like, why me and you talk about this before, like, why me, what did I do wrong, why did I deserve this, and, like, but again, I don't know, there is a purpose for everything. So, maybe there's a purpose for me to not to have this condition, but there is a purpose that comes from it,
yeah.
right?
To lead
So
others, help others, maybe find a way to be okay with it.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, Paula, that concludes our interview. Thank you for being so brave, and I appreciate your time. And
thank you.
and then we gotta do this some other time in Spanish, because there is a Spanish community out there that are probably suffering from this too, that they feel alone.
Yes, absolutely, and I'm more than happy to do that, especially because, down in our country, like, it's maybe something people don't talk about because people don't know that they have it. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. It actually feels really good to be able to be open about this. So um, thank you so much, and we'll keep in touch.
All right. We'll talk soon. Ciao.
Okay, ciao.